Hello and welcome to Let's Play the Third Courier. And I'll be honest with you, this is my first Let's Play video, but I wanted to do a Let's Play of this game because this was a game that I played when I was a kid. And of course this game is somewhat dated because it definitely has a Cold War theme to it. It's a sort of a spy story. It takes place in West and East Berlin, Germany during the Cold War. And basically this, of course, takes place, there are three couriers that were carrying the parts to the non-nuclear defense plans for NATO that were going to these this meeting in Brussels, Belgium, a week after the game supposedly starts, and two of the couriers have been murdered and their parts of their non-nuclear defense plans stolen, and then the third courier, who was last seen in Berlin, has disappeared. And so the main objective of the game is to find the third courier, hence the name The Third Courier for this game. The game is kind of a sort of James Bond spy type game, but it also has some role-playing elements in there. It's more of a first-person shooter, and it's kind of more like the point-and-click type of game that was really made more popular with the Myst and Riven series, for example. Or I should say Myst is the series, but Riven is the sequel to that. But it's the same type of game where it's sort of a point-and-click. And so I'll go ahead and let you know, for this first episode, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll kind of show you how to get started with this. So what you do, of course, is to start, we're going to create an agent. The agent, so honestly, it asks for the agent's name. I'm just going to arbitrarily pick something. So I'll just go, let's go Bond. Pretty generic. Of course, James Bond being the most famous spy probably. And, okay, so here is the dossier, the electronic dossier. Now this is actually a very important part of the game because this will help decide what type of attributes or stats that your character will have. Now in the game you'll encounter different puzzles and different hidden things, but you'll also encounter a lot of characters that you will have to fight. So honestly, choosing the right stats for your character will be very important, because if your character has a lot of intelligence but not enough health, for example, then getting into a fight with the wrong type of character will definitely ensure that you are killed off really, really quickly. So this will be very important in what type of, or how much health you have. Health, of course, in my opinion, is very important. I have not really found a use for all the other stats. We have, for example, intuition, intelligence, and things like that seem to have role-playing game elements, but I've not found a use for that in this game as yet. So, the way to make sure that you get the maximum health, or I should say one of them, or at least a good amount of health, is it asks you your sex, of course, and it's either male or female, and it doesn't really matter which one you choose for that. But if you want to maximize your health, you want to choose on a farm, leave it as it is, and then you'll want to choose team sports, and then you'll want to choose something like Golf Pro, and then the age group, keep that at 25 to 34. So, and then go to the next page. Now, the thing that this game does is it gives you a score of your intelligence. As you can see, your health is 33, your strength is 34. That's from choosing growing up in a small or growing up on a farm, choosing team sports, and then choosing to be a golf pro, and then choosing your age range. These other things, again, I haven't really found a use for them. Those are what they are. But the thing about it is, when you play the game, all of these stats will actually increase. Now, another thing too about your personality traits, or it actually assigns one of these at random. I have not really found that these really play a role in the gameplay itself, so it doesn't really have much to do with that. So what you can do is if you press activate, that will activate the character and you start the game immediately. Or if you click done, that will take you to the menu that we were just at. So I'm going to click done. Now I see that my character is actually created right here. Now notice that the cursor is confined to this menu right here. So the way that you get out of this and actually start is you select the agent that you just created and you highlight it by clicking on him. And then if you want to start the game, then you would click activate agent. Now, of course, below that there's terminate agent. That would be like, say, for example, if you make a huge mistake in the game, which honestly we will talk about later, but it's very, very possible to do in this game, then you would click terminate agent and that deletes the agent. Of course, you want to be very sure you want to do that, or you want to think about that first before you do that, because it will be gone forever if you do so. And of course, it will give you a warning asking you, are you sure you want to do that? Fortunately, so. Alright, so moving right along, I'll click Activate Agent, and that brings me to the start of this game. And you start the game in your apartment in West Berlin in 1990. Of course, this game was made in 1989, and this game was made before the Berlin Wall fell. So obviously, in this game, you've got West Berlin and you've got East Berlin. You still have the Berlin Wall and all the things associated with that. Even though the game chronologically takes place in August 1990 or so. So the first thing you'll want to do in this game, there are some things that you can use in this. Notice here you have your level. Now the level is your level of game. So you actually have your first level that you start off with is Sleuth, and I believe that there are 5 levels. Now notice here, this is your experience level, and there are different levels of experience. So the more experience you get, eventually you will get a higher level, and the higher your level, then the higher these stats increase as well. Now of course, notice here is the time. Now of course, if you just sit here, then the time will actually go by. The minutes will tick by. The time will elapse. And then right now we're in the first day. I believe we actually have 7 days in which to find the third courier, or find the parts to the non-nuclear NATO defense plans. So the first thing that I will do is click on Action. This brings up a menu, and the menu right here, of course, we got Listen, Search, Sneak, Take, Use, Save, Restore, and Quit. And listen, of course, will just listen, and sometimes listening will help you have clues to the game. It doesn't really do very much here. As you can see, you find Shostakovich's Romance from the Gadfly quite soothing. It doesn't always give you clues for what you need to find out. Search would be if you are searching for something, and sometimes you can find objects this way. You don't find anything here, of course, there's nothing to find. But like, say for example, if you are in a space or in an area where there is an item that you can pick up, you click search to actually claim or show that there's an item there. And then of course you've got sneak, and I will get into sneak while we're ready to leave the apartment here before we do that here. So let me go ahead and go to use, or actually no, let me go to take. Take is, so I'll take 30 Deutsche Mark, so DM30, okay. That starts, you actually have to use money in this game. You use it for various things. You can use it for buying a cab, or taking a cab, buying weapons, going to Sorry, my cat, she's wanting attention. Sorry about that. So anyway, U.S. passport, very important. Cash card, very important, because you want eventually, well, as you said, you got to use money in this game. Sometimes getting cash out of the cash machine is what that's for. Now, the next thing is you have some things in your apartment that you want to pay attention to, that you want to be able to use. So the first thing that I usually do is answering machine. So you've used your answering machine. This is Tammy at Acme Carpet Cleaners. I'm just calling blah 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 blah. No more messages on the machine. Okay, so it basically, you listen to your answering machine messages that accumulate over time. Now, of course, the longer you stay away from your apartment, then the more the answering machine messages accumulate. Of course, I wouldn't recommend staying around your apartment just to wait for the answering machines. So, notice now, after having done that, I've just accumulated 1,000 experience points. So, you accumulate experience points by doing things that are integral to the plot, or also by defeating enemies. So the next thing I'm going to do, and this is one thing I'm going to show you really quick, is I'm going to use my computer. Now this is something that it's really hard to explain how to actually do. When you dial in, this is almost like, okay, this game was made in 1989, and notice how it says dialing. Of course, this is before the widespread use of the internet, so this really is sort of an anticipation of dial-up internet. So what this game came with originally was a passcoder that was made out of 2 pieces of cardboard connected by a small metal rivet, and this had an actual code on it. Well, actually, it was sort of a slide rule kind of thing. Notice the symbol right here that almost looks like 2 H's. That actually is a symbol that's on this passcoder, and it's like a little window on the passcoder. I'll have to find a way to explain that or show what the passcoder looks like here, but it would have come with the game, and it's got like 2 rows of alphabetic letters, and they're all letters. And they're on the main part there's letters. On the slide part there's also letters, but they're not in a specific order. And then there's the symbol that shows up through a window, so you have to find and push the slide part until the symbol that you see here on the screen shows up in this little window, and then you have to pay attention to the color blue, and the top part says blue and the bottom part says red. And then there are 3 letters here, TLM. Now the T part is actually, these letters are the letters that will show up on the actual slide part, in the part that's not the slide part. It will show up on the slide rule. So it will basically come up with so you have to use the slide rule or the slide passcode part, and then find the letters that correspond to that. So for example, I've moved the sliding part to where that symbol is in the window now, and so now I'm going to have to take the letters that are in the main part, TLM. So T corresponds, it matches up with Y. L matches up with B, as in Bravo, and then M matches up with the letter A. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there. Okay, so Y, Bravo, and then Alpha right here. Log on complete. Now you only have to do this once during your gameplay. For each character that you create, you only have to use this slide rule once. Once you have logged onto your computer, when you come back to your apartment later on in the game, you won't have to do this again. I'm going to actually cut this short here a little bit. So I will show you a little bit more about the computer a little bit when we come back to our next episode. And I'll see you next time.